Hey, Ronnie Dale, Four Wheeling Australia. Welcome to Colorado, USA. We have a giant metal beast here called a Ram, but we'll get the owner in now and we'll figure out what it's all set up for. Matty? How you going, mate?
How are you?
Good, man.
Good.
Very good. Do you want to run through what this is set up for?
Sure. So this is a 2015 Ram 2500. So we call them 3/4 tons here. 6.7 liter Cummins diesel, which is like 350 horse, 900 foot-pounds of torque. I don't know what that translates to. Automatic transmission, 4-wheel drive, of course. It's Laramie, so it's got leather seats. It's not like the top of the range, but it's kind of the middle of the road. And it is set up for basically everything. It's kind of just an all-around adventure vehicle, multi-purpose, from trips like we just did to taking my kiddo to school and whatever else in between.
And I'll come vouch for that too. This thing has gone places you would not imagine this could go.
Yeah.
Moab.
She's pretty much point and shoot. It surprises everybody. Everybody looks at you like you are just absolutely nuts when you pull up on the trail in this.
I thought you were nuts halfway through the trip. I was worried about that. I was borrowing Maddie's Jeep, and I was worried about that going up things, and this thing here just walks straight up it.
Yeah.
Let's waste no time. We'll go straight through it.
Okay.
But do you call this a bumper or a bar?
Front bumper. Yep.
So there is steel here.
Mm-hmm.
There's these massive points here. What's in between here?
So these holes here are actually made for airflow, to let air go into the intercooler since it's a diesel. Mm-hmm. And the intercooler's basically like right behind the winch. They put those extra slots in to give extra airflow because you got to make sure that you're getting plenty of air into the intercooler, keep the motor running right.
So it's a low mount intercooler.
Yeah, it's very low. In fact, it's like right below. It's really a miracle I haven't crushed it yet, but because it's right below the bumper.
Are you considering putting something in front of this to protect it, or will that stop the airflow?
There's like one company in the world that makes a skid plate for this in Israel, of all places.
Israel?
Yeah. And so I need to get one ordered. That trip to Moab was like the first real like rock crawling I've done in the truck. And I was sitting there the whole time worrying about, as we're coming down off of some of that stuff, I'm like, this is going to be a long drive home at 10 miles an hour. But the front bumper is made by AEV, so American Expedition Vehicles, and they're out of Montana, but they do like Rams, Jeeps, and like Chevy Colorados. But it just fits really, really good. It doesn't have, it looks like a factory bumper almost.
It does.
But allows you to mount the winch and these monster tow hooks and everything else.
Speaking of the winch, it's pretty big.
Yep.
16.5.
Yep.
16,500 pounds.
Yep. It's kind of weird. Everybody asks questions about, like, this one's steel cable in the front, and then mine in the back is synthetic. And I like synthetic, but on this, because it gets used for so many different things, like we've got a farm and stuff, if we're pulling trees or whatever it is, you have a lot more durability out of steel cable than out of synthetic. So if it's dragging over rocks and whatever else, it doesn't really hurt that as much.
Yeah.
I like synthetic better because it's safer, but for this, it worked better.
Yeah, fair enough. And that's a massive hook. This is bigger than the ones I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
What's that rated to, this one?
Man, I'd be lying if I told you, but it's a lot. I think 30,000 pounds of braking strength.
It's for the bigger D-rings anyway.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's move to the side because you got something really interesting going on there.
Okay.
Side steps. Open the door, mate. Show us.
Side steps.
That's cool. Your Jeep has the same thing as well.
Yep.
Does this also provide protection underneath?
Not at all. So it's just a step. But I mean, you can kind of see how high the door is without a step. And I'm not, the tallest guy in the world.
I even need a step to get into this.
Yeah, it's a big truck. There's some companies now that make some with rock sliders like built into them, and then the step drops out of them. But I've had these on here for so long now that just figure I'll run them until they break.
Yeah, fair enough. You've done well not to dent your car in Moab, I've got to say.
Mm.
Have you ever banged your shin on it?
Yes. I drove it when I first built the truck, I drove it for like 2 months without steps. And then we put them on one day, and I fell out of the truck onto the step, onto the ground, face first, like into my driveway.
Because you weren't used to it?
Because I wasn't used to having a step. And then you pop up and like make sure nobody saw you and go on, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But no, they're cool.
On that note, we'll move to the back. The second winch with the synthetic rope, as you mentioned before. Hey, what was the brand of the front winch?
Worn. Both of them are worn.
Okay. This one's a VR 12,500 pounds. So how comes the smaller one in the back? Is that just where you can fit, or?
Yeah, the 16.5 mounts different. It actually mounts, you know, like a normal winch bolts from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
The 16.5s actually mount like front ways.
Okay.
So they bolt through front ways. And so we did the 12 back here just because that was the biggest thing that mounted normally into that tray. 12's enough, but it's like front's better because it's got a little bit more, you know, extra capacity.
Nice. And you do a bit of towing, as we already know about. This happened to Moab, yeah?
It did.
So where's that now?
That is hiding right up here.
Yeah. I don't know why they put them down here, but I guess I don't expect people with a Ram to get off-road.
Probably not. I'm probably not the average Ram user. But out of that whole trip and the trails we did, that's the only damage on the truck.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty impressive.
Pretty good.
Is this something Americans do a lot as well now? Bag off the back, or?
Yeah, just for trash.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of different ones, but that one's like rubber, so it lasts longer. It holds up better to the sun and everything else. But it's pretty handy.
Roof rack and rooftop tent?
Yeah.
We'll start with the rack. So that's a common rack you'd use on a Ram, I take it?
Yeah, so that was actually the prototype for Rhino rack for the Ram. So they got their backbone system that they call it over here, so the mounting point, and then just a normal Pioneer tray. But they sent it to us to test fit, make sure it all worked, and then it's been on there now for about a year. Works real good.
Okay. So it's the first one with it. No one else has it yet?
No, they have them out now, but at the time it was the first one with it.
Rooftop tent?
That one is actually from Brisbane, and it's made by a company called Camp King. So it's all aluminum. It's got like the same grade canvas that y'all have on all your tents and stuff, so it's way better, like quality-wise, than most of the stuff that we have here.
Okay.
It's probably the best tent I've ever owned.
You guys mainly either rooftop tent or you're on the ground tent?
Yep.
You don't do swag zero?
No, you can't. You can, like, there's one swag company here that you can buy swags from. Not like it is down there.
One light bar down here.
30-inch combo, so it's spot and flood combo from Rigid. And it's white, so white light. And then these are amber, both of them. So they're both spot pattern, and then amber for fog and dust and stuff. Even like when it's raining, I turn them on.
Is there a law in America about the height of your lights? Is that why there's no roof light on this one?
No, I just, like, I've got a big bar sitting at the shop. I just haven't put it on because I don't need it. You know what I mean? So I was trying to kind of, as weird as this sounds with this truck, trying to kind of keep it a little bit conservative, you know? So we put side lights on the rack to shine out, and then that 30 inches tons of light at night. So it does real well.
Okay. Have you upgraded your headlights?
No,
Is that how they come?
100% stock. So we changed, like, cosmetically, we changed the grill. So this is actually a Power Wagon grill. And then these are Power Wagon headlights, so they're blacked out. So just purely for looks to make the whole truck black, you know, up front.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
But they're stock headlights.
Communication. You got 3 antennas on the roof? What do you call them, aerials or antennas?
Antennas.
Okay.
Yep. So CB, FMRS or GMRS, which is like the little handy talkies, you know, that you can buy at the store. that is it's a 40 watt radio that transmits on those channels. So like what we've been using all week.
Okay.
And then, because you don't have to have a license for it. And then the third weird looking antenna is a cell phone booster. So it actually boosts, if there's a signal, it boosts it theoretically. And
That's
then,
the fat one, yeah?
Yeah, and then amplifies it inside the truck.
Nice. Okay.
So,
Tyres and suspension and drivetrain. Drivetrain we'll do that after. So let's start with the actual lift itself.
3-inch from AEV again. And the reason I went with this one is because it's the least amount of lift you can put on the truck and still clear the 37. So it actually moves the front axle forward 1.5 inches from factory, and that lets you clear the 37s and be able to turn them full and all of that. Bilstein shocks, and that's pretty much it. And on the back, we've got some airbags for like when I tow something heavy, with some custom cradles that let them float. So if the axle flexes,
So not attached.
right. But that's it on the suspension.
So the tyres are 37s, and what are they?
They're Toyos,
Okay.
37-inch Toyos.
Open country mud terrain.
Mhm.
So 37, 13.5 wide.
12.5, and 17-inch method wheels.
Real beadlocks.
No, not on this one yet. You never know.
Driveline.
So the axles are factory, but we re-geared to 411 gears front and back, and then from 342s is factory.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
and then ARB air lockers front and back, and then we put in the front axle we did Dynatrack ball joints, so brand new, like super beefy rebuildable ball joints, and hydraulic steering. So it's actually got hydraulic assist steering, so a new gearbox and everything else, which makes a huge difference when it's locked. You can still turn. I mean, you can turn with 2 fingers, even with that tire. And I mean that diesel engine weighs a ton, so it's got all that weight up front, and the hydraulic made it really, really nice. This was the first trip using the lockers or the hydraulic. We just did that about 2 months ago.
6.7 litre donk. How many miles on the clock have you got?
74,000, thereabouts, ballpark.
So about 110, 120,000 Ks.
Yep.
How many batteries are in here, and is it standard with 2 batteries?
Yeah, all the diesels are standard with 2 batteries because of the compression. It has to have 2 batteries to turn the starter to start it. So really under here we've got the S-Pod, which controls all of the electronics, and then we extended the diff breathers all the way up here to under the hood, so that's mounted right there. Those run, both axles, front and rear, so it keeps all the breathers out of the water. And
is that actually specifically made to mount there as well?
No, it's just where we picked to mount it.
Okay.
So we've got the snorkel on it, which helps with obviously water. I mean, I'm probably not going to get into water that deep, but it helps with cleaner air too. Yeah. So it makes a big difference with that pre-filter on it.
I've noticed it kept a cyclonic head on it too.
Yeah.
What size snorkel is that? Like, do you know?
I do not. It's made by, just like the bumper, it's made by AEV, but I don't know as far as what size, like airflow size or anything like that.
How big's the exhaust coming out of it?
4-inch.
What do they come with?
So it's stock 4-inch.
Oh, they come with a 4-inch?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep.
So we finished talking about the motor, fuel capacity, and fuel economy. So we'll talk about capacity first.
So the factory tank is 32 gallons, and then we just added an auxiliary tank from Brown Davis fuel tanks in Australia, and it's another basically 32 gallons when you do the conversion. So 64 gallons of diesel right now. Average, like on a big trip pulling a trailer and stuff, it's usually around like 12 and a half, 13. Worst case is like 10 miles to the gallon. And then if it's just going empty, I've seen it do like 16. So I just figure it on like 10. So I've got basically like 650 miles of range on a tank of diesel.
Nice. That's pretty good for something like this.
Yep, for sure. So I don't have to worry about it as much. And it's cool. You just transfer it from one tank to the other. It works really well.
Okay.
So.
The tray. Run us through, mate.
So, P-Core from Patriot Campers. This was the Ram prototype that got sent over. It's been out here a year now. So almost all aluminum. 20 gallons of water built in with a pump that stays on, that stays in the truck all the time. And then of course storage boxes, all central locking, like we talked about. And pretty cool setup. Really happy with it.
What's in this one?
That one is just stuff like jumper cables, tire repair kit, just odds and ends basically. And then in this one, we've got ARB twin compressor, and then 2 manifolds, one for the air lockers, and then one for inflating tires, deflating tire, all of that stuff. And then air hose and all my air stuff basically is in this one.
Okay. And then what's on the opposite side?
This box on the opposite side is all my recovery gear, straps and snatch block and all that. And then on that box on the opposite side is just storage, like odd knickknacks and different stuff.
Okay.
So this side of the headboard, we've got the water filler that goes in the water tank. And then the opposite side, same spot, we've got the filler for the diesel and then the DEF exhaust fluid that we have to keep on here.
The canopy. Or a box. What do you call them?
Canopy.
Canopy.
Yeah. We're having to learn like the right language,
Yeah, that's it. The right language. Run us through, mate.
So again, P-Core by Patriot Campers. On this side, we just got obviously kind of messy right now, but
yeah, just come back from a trip.
Yeah. Storage here for bigger stuff, all of our gear, and then here, again, storage up top, but we've got all the electrical system for the canopy. So USBs, 12 volt, 1000 watt inverter, battery management system from Red Arc. This has got a 160 amp hour lithium battery behind the drawer here, and then of course your water gauge and circuit breakers and all that, and then storage, tool storage under here.
What's this?
Shore power, so we can plug in the canopy to any regular outlet and charge the battery, which since we put the solar on, I haven't had to do that. Solar pumps in and keeps it consistently charged. It does really good.
Did you mention you had a BMS?
No, so I got a battery management system from Red Arc.
So that can work with 125 volt?
Yeah, it's a brand new deal. That's another, basically like a prototype that, and Red Arc, I think Red Arc now like has them for the US as they're coming over.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, just happened here pretty recently. We just changed that not too long ago just to make sure it would all work.
So you're the first one.
Yeah.
Again.
Yep.
We're
everybody's guinea pig.
Yeah.
We do everybody's work for them.
You're a guinea pig with 3 things here.
Uh-huh.
The tray, the box, the BMS,
and the roof rack.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everything's holding up?
Yeah. Yeah, it's doing really well. I love this setup. It gets so much attention.
Yeah, because you're not used to seeing this kind of stuff.
No, it's the whole like tray and canopy thing is like a foreign concept here. I mean, I guess literally it's a foreign concept, but like the first time we came to Australia, we're driving down the road and just drooling over all the trucks that tray and canopy and all that stuff, and then Justin was like, "Yeah, that's a plumber. That's like it's normal there, but here it's just completely out of the ordinary."
Well, when we were driving through Moab, we were drooling at all the cars we saw.
Yeah, of course.
Grass green on the other side. Other side, which is the kitchen.
The kitchen.
Let's start with the fridge.
Okay.
This is interesting.
Yep. So, right
like
up
that?
there. Yeah. So Dometic upright fridge, which took a little bit of getting used to when you're used to like the ARB. Like I've always had ARB fridges, but I really like this because it's a lot easier to organize. Like and see where all your stuff is versus like having it all piled on top of each other. It works really good, and it's got a freezer, and so it's pretty cool to have like ice cream sandwiches. You know. Speaking of that, there's some tater tots. Forgot those were there.
I thought it was ice cream in there. Do you find you got lack of room now, or same?
I feel like I have this, probably a little bit more actually. Once you kind of figure out how to pack it, you know, it does really good. So at first I didn't like it, but the more I've used it,
You just found a different way of using it.
Yep, exactly.
Did you have 2 trays in it before?
It did. It actually had like one storage drawer down here and then 2 shelves, and I just took it all out and kind of, I can put them back in if I need them, but
I think I would have done the same.
yeah, it just leaves it a little bit more flexible.
It's just the water bottles and stuff that are annoying, right?
Yeah, that's
pretty good.
Really, everything else is great. The hardest thing to keep in it's drinks. So like instead of being able just to put them all in, we just put a handful in and then restock it. You know, as we pull something out, we'll put something back in and replace it. So
Nice. Let's go to the kitchen.
okay. We got, again, a P-Core product. So this is a whole drop-down kitchen assembly. So it's on a drop slide. So we pull it.
Are you the first to try this as well?
Probably. No, I think this one had actually been used and tested, maybe. So it comes out and then drops down.
Nice.
And then you've got storage up top. So pretty good storage space up here. And then
I've already seen it, but I haven't had a good look at it yet.
stove comes out. And then the sink.
Okay.
Sink
So
basin.
a lot like the X2.
Yeah, very similar to the X2. So it works good. I gotta have a step stool because I'm a midget. So I can't cook in it, but you know. No, it actually works really good.
Very nice.
What's for lunch?
I don't know.
Grapes and water?
Grapes and water. I did see some pasta or something in there.
Yeah.
I'm actually getting pretty hungry too. You gonna roll up by the foot?
I do.
I wouldn't mind to cheese it. Nice. These are good. These are real good.
This is better.
That's just sugar in a roll.
That's perfect.
So I see you've gone with the method of first out, last in with your table.
Yep.
Very important camping tip. Lights in the canopy. So you got one on the door, and you got one in the middle.
Yep. And then one on the opposite door.
Okay. Are they on? Ah, righto.
And then you can turn them. There's a button here that you can turn them off as well if you want to, like at night and stuff.
Ah, so it doesn't go on when you open it.
Right.
In the cab, a lot going on in here. Not too much, but it looks like you got what you need.
It's almost like jet fighter-ish.
It is kind of.
Almost.
Except for it's like a Boeing.
It's like a luxury jet
A380.
fighter.
There's so much room in here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start from the top. You have 2 radios up here. Is it 2?
Yeah. So this is, although I'm really proud to say that it looks factory, this is not factory. You cannot buy a Dodge Ram with this in it. This is out of a Toyota FJ Cruiser that we bought and then rewired, repainted, and then built brackets to mount. Because I saw the Aussie trucks with the overhead consoles and the radios and all that stuff. And I mean, there's a lot going on up here. So probably my favorite thing about this whole truck of all the mods we've done is this and the new headliner. So we basically made this work, and then we could mount the radio here. The CB's control box is up inside here,
Mm.
And then I've also got a siren, like a police siren, which I know sounds cheesy, but there's point, and it does like PA too, so you can talk on the loudspeaker, and then you got the horn and all that.
Okay.
My electronics controls or my switch panel is built in right here, so you can activate all the lockers and everything, and it's all where like you can do it without having to see it.
Is that a window switch?
Yeah, so that's for the back window,
Oh.
which is electric.
So this is all the stuff that was up here.
Yeah, it was in like
Before?
a little tiny, like the factory one was like a little tiny, like flush mounted into the roof.
Damn, you done a nice job, eh?
So, and then we redid the headliner because you figured out now we like patches here in the U.S.
Yes.
And patches wouldn't stick to the factory headliner.
Yeah.
So we redid it in black.
Nice.
And made it where you could stick patches and everything. Then I got iPad, which runs our nav. And then phone mount. This whole mounting system is for a Jeep, and we took apart the dash and made it all work and reinforced it where it's stable.
That's the 67 mount, yeah?
Yep.
That's cool stuff, eh?
Yep. Yeah, they build good stuff. Got a MSA little storage pouch there from Australia, and then the rest of this is pretty much factory. Of course, as you pointed out, we're able to have pistols and stuff, so keep that handy.
There's a 9mm there.
That's a 45.
Oh, is it a 45?
And then there's a 9 inside the console.
So the 9's in there, 45 here.
And I think that's a 40.
Okay.
So we don't play. But we're all licensed and legal and all that, so I mean.
And I've noticed there's no road rage in this country.
No, definitely not.
There's just no road rage. It's actually quite pleasant to drive around.
I'm trying to think what else inside. Really, I mean, little odds and ends to make it more comfortable, because we, like, where we live, for us to go on the places that we really like to go, it's 12, 13, 14 hours of highway, just burning miles to get there. So we just did little stuff to try to make it more comfortable for those long road trips. And of course, most of the places where I go with my wife and my daughter. So we've got some extra outlets in the back for iPads and, all of that stuff.
Which you've put in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, there's extras here, and then in the back as well. And then when we did the interior, we dynamated everything. So floor, roof, walls, doors, everything to make it quieter inside. Just made a big difference.
Nice.
Big job, but...
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, it would have taken a fair few mats too, eh?
Yeah, we stripped the entire... There was nothing left inside this truck, and then put it all back together.
Talk through these cushy things here you got.
So these are just Velcro elbow pads, and like, again, for those long road trips when you're sitting, my arm usually sits like right here, and it just made it a lot more comfortable versus your arm sitting on that hard plastic.
Yeah, they are pretty comfy.
They kind of laugh at me. Everybody kind of laughs at me, but then when they get over here and drive, all of a sudden you look over and their elbows are sitting there.
I was one of those. Me and Torben took this to Walmart, and I was like, look at this soft ass. Oh, I can't say that word, but anyway. Yeah, they're pretty comfy, eh?
Mm-hmm.
So comfy. So where'd you get them from?
Amazon.
Oh, there we go. Amazon. I have to look on eBay. Can't get Amazon.
You don't have Amazon in Australia?
I think there's supposed to be an Amazon Australia coming up, but anything in the US I can't buy from Amazon. I can buy from eBay, but not Amazon.
Gotcha.
That's pretty much it in here, eh?
That's pretty much it.
Very nice. Good job.
Thank you.
Clean job. We forgot our beers.
Ready?
Yeah.
Want a beer?
Yeah, let's go beer.
I got you.
You got my back?
Gotcha. Pick your poison.
IPA.
There you go.
Hazy Indian Pale Ale. Desert beer. Cheers, mate.
I think mine's frozen. Fridge works good.
Our audience in the background. Q&A. First question. Why did you pick a Ram?
I picked the Ram because at the time like I'd always owned Ford diesels, always since I was a kid. And when AEV came out with their Ram parts, because we'd been using their Jeep parts forever, I thought, I'll try something different. Ram's got the Cummins engine, which is a huge deal. And then on their newer trucks, like the back is coil sprung as well. So it rides a lot better than everything that's leaf sprung.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just kind of a natural transition. And I thought, I'll try it. And if I don't like it, then I'll.
Do you want us to go back?
Yeah, like this is the first truck I've ever owned that I've kept for more than like a year because I get bored and want something different.
Okay.
I don't think I'll ever get rid of this one, to be honest with you.
That's a big statement. That's
Yeah.
a huge statement.
Yeah. Like we were talking about on the trails, like it never, ever ceases to amaze me what this truck will do. We go to Arkansas, New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado. I've been all over the West in it.
Yeah.
And, people look at it like, oh, you can't go do Hell's Revenge in a Ram truck. You just don't do that. But it never, ever ceases to amaze me what it'll do.
You know what's funny? If I'd already been to Moab before, I would have said to you, don't bring this. We're not doing it.
Right.
With this. But because I've never seen it before, and you're the lead vehicle, it's different.
Yeah.
Just straight into it.
I didn't have a choice. I had to.
There's no going
It
back.
had to work.
You can't turn around on these hills.
Nope. Like that is probably the one, as far as wheeling capabilities, I guess there's two limitations. One of them is obviously it's a big wide truck. I mean, she's a big girl. So tight like trails with trees and stuff are pretty much a no-go. And then when you're doing like crawling, especially out in Moab where you're doing, some pretty wild angles, the hood is really, really long. So there's times when you got to climb like halfway out the truck to see, on a Jeep or something, you can lean out and see your tires and you're all good. But there was a few times where we were hanging out both sides, just making sure we were on the right line.
What's your top 3 favorite mods to this vehicle?
The P-Core setup. So the tray and the canopy, I've had them on there for a year now, and I love them. The interior, what we did, the overhead console and the new headliner and all of that, just because it's completely custom.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
Has that darkened the inside of the vehicle as well?
Yeah, and it made it a lot quieter. So as far as road noise and stuff inside, it's a lot better. And then number 3, probably the hydraulic steering, because it just tightened everything up and made it a lot easier to, even before the lockers, if you were in 4-wheel drive on like hard, on rock or hard ground, it could get pretty hard to turn. And so that hydraulic assist just makes it smooth.
If someone came to you with a Ram, what are the 5 fundamental things you need to get changed to do what you've done in this, like the trips that you've done, like the Moab and all that? What do you think is the most important thing?
The first thing I would do if I were building a Ram for just an all-around adventure vehicle is you got to ditch the factory tires and get some good tires, just so you got peace of mind and a matching spare. And then, the suspension and drivetrain is the bones that you build the whole project off of. So a good suspension, and then, if you can throw the lockers in at the same time. And then you just kind of pick a winch so you can get out of, because the thing about this, and we mentioned it on the trip, is it's a big truck. It's a heavy truck. And so if you're out wheeling, like almost every trip we go on, I'm wheeling with people in Jeeps and 4Runners and stuff like that. And if I get this stuck,
No one's pulling it
it's
out.
going to be hell to pay trying to get it out, especially in smaller vehicles. So a winch and recovery gear so you can get yourself out. Then you don't have to rely on everybody else. And then I think everybody needs a P-Core setup too, because it changes the whole truck. Before I had like the factory bed with a drawer system and then a bed rack and a tent and like 86 different parts and pieces,
And you got stuff on top of other stuff. And
Yeah, you got to unpack 6 different things to get to the one thing that you forgot to pack in the, at the back, and this just works a lot better.
Top 3 trips you've done in this one?
First one would be last summer. We were doing a show up in Washington, and then my wife and daughter flew in to Seattle, and we spent like 10 days driving down the West Coast. So Washington, Oregon, California. Just a good trip. We didn't do like any hardcore wheeling or anything like that. Drove on the beach, camped some. Just a good trip, you know, seeing country I hadn't seen before.
Good family trip.
Yeah. Second would have to be our Colorado trip last year with Patriot.
Just over there.
Just over there. So close, but so far away. We had a blast on that trip. And then Moab, for sure.
Nice.
That was fun.
That was crazy.
Yeah, really fun.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was
a
awesome.
good trip.
It was epic, actually. What other cars do you have? Four-wheel drive vehicles.
I've got a...
So you got the Jeep.
Yep, the 2018 JL Rubicon. And I've got a 1980 International Scout, which you've probably never heard of.
You showed them to me at the show. Yeah, yeah.
And then I've got a 1981 Jeep Scrambler, which was like the original Jeep pickup. That both of those we're about to restore. And that's it right now. Never know. That may change next week.
But this isn't changing next week.
No, this ain't going anywhere.
No.
I couldn't get rid of it if I had to.
Yeah?
There's too much money and
Too much
emotion
invested in it,
and
yeah.
you know what I mean.
A question I asked Justin from Patriot Campers, because you are the Patriot Camper dealer in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Do you prefer the X1 or the X2?
Oh, man. In an ideal world, like if you were pulling something behind this truck,
Mm-hmm.
I like the X2 a lot because it's simple. It's fast. Like you put the right tent and stuff on it, it's really quick.
Okay.
Because I have no patience. So I don't want to spend a lot of time setting stuff up and all of that. But having said that, with a family, the X1 all day long. Because once you open the tent and set it up, you got so much more room. You know, you got king size bed and the lower changing room and all that, and it's always there. So I'd have to say X1.
Okay. How many kids you got?
A 6-year-old little girl and another one will be here in like 2 months. Or not even 2 months, like 6 weeks.
You got months and years on your watch.
I do, yeah.
You do?
Looking at the date. I got to get home. Fixing to have a baby.
Oh, we better wrap this up then. So if people want to get a rig like this, built exactly the way this is, or the Jeep that's around the corner, where can I find you?
You can find us online, explorationoutfitters.com, and give us a call. And we can do it from start to finish, so even sourcing the vehicle. So basically, and we do it pretty often, the customer doesn't have to do anything. They can call and say, here's what I want, build it, fly in, pick it up. And there's really no limits to what we can build for somebody.
Nice. There you go, guys. Will the Jeep fit on the plane?
For the right money, it will.
I'm sure it will. Cheers, man.
Thanks.
And to everyone watching, you can see the full build list somewhere on the screen, actually in the link below. And there's another video to another build over here. Where can I subscribe? Anywhere on the screen. You pick. Right there. Thanks, guys. Cheers for watching. And we better get going.
Yep.
I ought to get to Albuquerque.
I got to get to Oklahoma.
Straight out of Oklahoma.
Straight out of Oklahoma.
You.
That's right.